So welcome this week, brothers. I'm building a list that's going to focus on Fury of the Lost. I'm going to build a couple lists. I've got a few ideas, and then I'd love to hear what you think about building Fury of the Lost lists, and I would like to get some feedback on mine as well. So we're going to get straight into Battlescribe. We're going to look at all that, and stick around. This should be a fun video. So welcome to a new list in Battlescribe, and I've been wanting to make a new list pretty much ever since I got out of the GT, where I really struggled with secondary scoring. Primaries were pretty good. If you have Rights of War in your list, then you're scoring primary pretty well. So I think I need to lean heavier. I like Relentless Assault, and it's also the same category as Shock Tactics. So I feel like Relentless Assault or Shock Tactics are totally core. They're fine. The second one, I think, is going to be Fury of the Lost. And I think Fury of the Lost is something that I haven't played yet. I'm going to start playing it, and I think the list that we see running well with Fury of the Lost, you're looking at 4 units of Death Company. So that's what the core of this list is going to be. And one of the units that makes a lot of sense is Lamartez, because he has the Death Company keyword. We started here by giving him Soul Warden and making him the Warlord and picking Mantra of Strength. Right, it's worth mentioning that Fury of the Lost comes in the same category as No Prisoners or Bring It Down, which are usually reasonably decent ones to pick, assuming the enemy has the right army to pick them against. So my thought is, what about you just don't worry about that. You just pick Fury of the Lost every time. So 2 of your 3 secondaries are kind of instantly decided. If there's a big deployment zone you're getting into, Relentless Assault, otherwise Shock Tactics, and then you're always pretty much taking Fury of the Lost. So Lamartez knows 2 litanies, so we would take Mantra of Strength to give him +1 to his attack and damage. That would make his weapon Strength 7. That would give him 5 attacks base, so I guess if he's charging it could be 7, and that would make it -3. Essentially it's a Strength 7 Thunderhammer because it's got AP -2. His litanies only do affect the Death Company, but the cool thing about Lamartez is he lets Death Company reroll charges, and he also lets them use his leadership of 9 instead of their leadership of 7. So 2 good reasons to have Lamartez in here. He can also play Death Visions potentially, because he does have Death Company keyword, right? So normally to play a Death Vision, you need the Death Visions keyword, but there's a stratagem that is really badly worded, and the badly worded stratagem, and this comes up quite often, is Visions of Sanguinius, and it says use this character when a Death Company character model from your army is selected to fight. Lamartez 100% is a Death Company character. He just doesn't have the Death Visions keyword, but by paying the 1 CP, it sounds like it doesn't matter, and you can use 2 Death Visions. So I think that's what some people are doing. So my options here really are, I can get the +2 to charge, which is obviously useful, but he does have reroll charges, so maybe that's not so useful, but maybe later in the game it could be useful if you've got a unit coming in from Deep Strike, but it would only help a Death Company unit Deep Strike, right? Because his litanies only affect Death Company. So +1 to hit on ranged attack is not going to be that useful. +1 to wound is not going to be that useful. Catch Some Fire says any unit that makes a ranged attack within 1 inch is going to be able to add +1, within 6 inches, sorry, is going to be able to add against the closest target 1 to the wound roll. That could be useful if you've got Death Company with Infernal Pistols. So I guess Catechism of Fire, Canticle of Hate, they seem like the 2 options. Remember, he does get Litany Hate for free, which lets you reroll all hits within 6. So you're probably going to be doing Mantra of Strength and Litany Hate. But I think I'm going to take Catechism of Fire. I'm running Death Company with Infernal Pistols. We're going to get to that in a minute, and I'm going to run a boatload of Death Company with Infernal Pistols. So we're going to need a Sanguinary Priest, because if we don't have the Priest, we can't get into Assault Doctor and earlier. And we're going to need to give him a jump pack, because he probably needs to be mobile. We're going to want to give him... He's going to have a bolt pistol and chainsword. We're going to want to give him Rights of War, potentially. So let's put that on for the moment. Rights of War. And the problem that I found at the GT with the Priest is the second he's targeted with any sort of meaningful firepower, he dies. I spoke to Chris Chance a few weeks ago, and we talked about like using the Teeth of Terror on the Priest to give him some punch, but I don't necessarily always find myself getting into combat with him, because sometimes I'm advancing them to like revive models or give models obsec at far range. So I think I'm going to give him Armor Indomitus. We might come back and change that, right? Because I haven't decided what my next or my third HQ slot is. We'll decide near the end. I think I need a Chapter Master. Like, I really think I do, because I think the Chapter Master is going to basically give one of my Death Company the Forlorn Fury rerolls. The only alternative I could see, and I've been thinking about this, is I could take Taiko. I have just bought a Terax drill. I could put Taiko inside the Terax drill, and that could be the option, right? And I might make 2 variants of this list. Probably, yeah, I mean, in this video, why don't we just make 2 variants of the list? I'm in no huge rush tonight to have to make another video or something like that. Usually that's why my videos, I have to churn videos out like crazy. Okay, so I'm going to take a squad of incursors, and I'm going to give them the mine. And the mine is a 2-up when they get charged, and the enemy takes D3 mortals. Now that's 10 points. Now, most of the time I recommend you don't take the mine, but the one matchup I thought it could be useful in is Sisters of Battle that are making long charges with Miracle Dice, with small units as Zephyrum that are still wiping out your entire squad. This could be useful. As you could argue, you could take Infiltrators, but Infiltrators prevent Deep Strike. They don't prevent Sisters of Battle moving 12 and then making like a 10-inch charge with Miracle Dice, and that was my problem. So the mine's on here. I might change that. Assault Intercessors, they really underperformed for me this weekend, so maybe we'll just take a squad of Assault Intercessors. And I was going to say, I'm trying to think what my last troop choice is, and usually I just default straight into another squad of Assault Intercessors. I did think if I was taking a Terax drill, I could take some Tactical Marines to keep the cost down. I mean, it saves me a whopping 5 points. So maybe the other option would just be to take another squad of Assault Intercessors. Or, I mean, I never run regular Intercessors. This is a time for experimentation where we are in the meta. Like, I often talk about, like, units aren't... If you watch my last 2 videos, you'll realise that I thought Marines are really, really struggling. So I'm going to run Auto Bolt Rifles Intercessors, I think, just for a change, just to see how they do. So, Death Company then. We're going to have 2 of them to begin with. We're actually going to run 3 Death Company. The first one's going to have Jump Packs, and we're going to have Thunder Hammers, right? Like, have I clicked the right thing? How do I change these guys from... Oh, they've changed it and make it nice and easy now, have they? Okay, so I'm going to have 1 with Bolt Pistol and Chainsword, and I'm going to have 4 with Thunder Hammers. Okay, 165 points. That is right. I'm going to do another Death Company. And they're going to have Jump Packs as well. I'm going to have 1 with Bolt Pistol and Chainsword. And I'm going to have 4 custom ones. I'm actually going to have none with Bolt Pistol and Chainsword. This is quite nice how they've actually changed this, so it's a bit easier to select the custom options. So the first one's going to be Power Sword, Infernal Pistol. The next one's going to be Infernal Pistol, Power Sword. The next one's going to be Infernal Pistol, Power Sword. Now I've got a choice. On my desk here, I've got 2 more guys with Power Swords. And I've got... actually have 2 more guys with Power Swords and 3 more Infernal Pistols. So maybe this squad is the 5 Infernal Pistol. I haven't run a 5 Infernal Pistol. At the tournament I was just at, I ran... what did I run? I ran 3 Infernal Pistols, 3 Power Swords. Or I could do this the other way around. Do you know what? We'll do this the other way around, right? We'll run this squad with 3 Infernal Pistols. No, I think this is the right call. I think I want a squad with 5 Infernal Pistols for trying it, right? So, 5 Infernal Pistols, 3 Power Swords. I suppose I may as well add up my Whirlwind, because I feel like I'm going to need my Whirlwind for deep... I was going to say for Suppression Fire and or... I'm going to take the Castellan on that, because it's cheaper and it gives you more shots, so more reliability in the Suppression Fire. I'm going to need my Whirlwind for anti-Overwatch, anti-interrupt and stuff like that. I'm also going to I really feel like I want the Sangare Ancient for the plus 2 inches to movement. This would give me 4 characters, which I often don't like doing. but I think I'm doing it. So I think we're doing Sanguinary Ancient, and I think we're doing Relic of the Chapter, Wrath of Baal. So we get 14-inch move, and we can also make one unit within 6 plus 1 to hit, which is most likely going to be a Death Company squad, right? I think this may also bait people into taking. It may also bait people into taking. Think. Assassinate against us. And if we get assassinated against us, then maybe when characters get to low wounds or something, the priest can heal them up, or we can run them away. Not many people typically take assassinate against Blood Angels, and I actually think it might be reasonably decent to have. So what did that spend? That spends 1,095 points, right? I know I want another Death Company. The question is what weapons I want on the other Death Company. The other thing that I've just bought is the Terrax Siege Drill. And I do think that, like, or the Terrax Pattern Termite Siege Drill. I am thinking of running that with a Death Company inside it. Now there's a few options, I suppose, right? Maybe what I'll do is I'll make this one list without the Terrax, and then I'll tell you my thoughts for the Terrax at the end, right? So let's assume this is the jump pack list. What else I'm going to put in the jump pack list most likely then is 2 squads of guard, and I think 6 Sanguinary Guard are the magic number. I mean, you could argue 5-man Sanguinary Guards now, because typically after the Sanguinary Guard make their charge, I just lose all 6 of them. So maybe the better option is to keep these things cheap and do 2 5-man Sandguards. DTM was talking about that. He was saying, like, just do 2 5-man Sandguards, because Marines always get mopped up after they make their charge. So by putting 6 in the unit, you just get mopped up anyway. So why not just 5-man Sandguard, all in Jealous Bolters, and swords? And I guess the reason for that is because we actually want to do more damage with the Death Company in this list, right? So we got 400 points left. So we got enough points to put in another large Death Company. And my other thought was the Chapter Master. So we get 600 points left. We would need to put a Death Company. We need to potentially put a Chapter Master. We need to Death Company, Chapter Master, and then we'd have like 200 points left, which I would have liked to spend on a Dreadnought, but I'm actually thinking just to try out the Valiant. Now, I think armor's in a really funny place at the moment. Some people might want me to try out the Gladiator Reaper. I know that people have been asking me to try out the Gladiator Reaper for ages. Would it be the worst idea in the world to just try out Gladiator Reaper? I'm going to be making 2 lists. Anyway, so what if we put in a Gladiator Reaper? I feel like you need to pay the 5 points to give it the smoke launchers. I think it's kind of mad that you have to pay the 5 points for the smoke launchers. I am tempted to run the Gladiator Valiant just because the Valiant has like... I think it's got... Let me remember. It's got like the twin Las Talon and the multi-melters. So I think you're basically heavy. I think you've got 4 multi-melters and 4 Las Talons, all 24 inches, all d6 damage, 8 shots. If I compare that to what I ran at this recent event, then I mean the thing that really stands out, or the thing that I really want to run, is I want to run a Volkite Contemptor. I've not run one for a little while. The problem is, if running the Volkite Contemptor, something needs to give here in the elite slot, right? Like I need to lose a Sanguinary Guard, or I need to lose the Sanguinary Ancient. I can probably afford to lose the Ancient if I run my custom character. Lamartes does give all the Death Company rerolls to charge, so maybe I don't need the extra 2 inches from the Ancient. I guess that's also a reason why some people do Patrol and Vanguard, because you'd be able to take less troops. By taking less troops, you can take more guard, and then you can also You can also, by taking less troops, you can take like more Sanguinary Guard. You can also take more Death Company because of like you don't have the same problem with the Ancient. I think if you want to do that, you have to run Dante. And I ran Dante at the event that was just at. I think he's a fine chapter master. I just really don't like his 2 damage weapon. In a lot of situations, it feels bad. But I wasn't running another character that can potentially have a 3 damage weapon, and I guess in this case, Lamartis does potentially have a 3 damage weapon. The issue with Lamartis, though, I suppose, is you have to cast a litany for him to have the 3 damage weapon. Okay. Right, well, for the moment then, let me add a Death Company that I can build, right? Like, and what I mean by that I can build, that I have the models for, okay? So that I, like, actually know how many points I've got left. In front of me here, I have 2 with Power Swords and 1 with an Infernal Pistol. So, this Death Company might be bigger than 5. And I'm thinking that might make a lot of sense just to totally lean into Fury of the Lost, right? So we give these guys jump packs. Let's start. We'll start with 5 with bolt gun and chainsword. That's fine. We'll add 3 more for the 3 that I have in front of me here. We can do. In front of me here, I've got 2 with power swords. I got 1 with an infernal pistol. That's like an 8-man at the moment. Okay, in terms of fully painted ones, I also have 1 with a plasma pistol and 1 with an axe. So, I mean, that would give me a 10-man Death Company. So 1 with a plasma pistol. I mean, I don't like plasma pistols, you know that, but I've got it already painted and I've got 1 with an axe. I think the axe, compared to the power sword, is probably just a little bit weaker because the power sword has more AP, but those are Death Company that I already have painted. So, 370 points left. Let's put in the Chapter Master. So what have I spent CP wise? We've spent 1 on the Ancient. We've spent 2 on the Priest. We've spent 1 on Lamartis. Like, at that point, it feels like, well, even if I take Dante, it doesn't help me, right? Because Dante here isn't the Warlord, and the reason that I've made Lamartis the Warlord is to get Soul Warden. So there's 2 ways I could do this. I can keep Lamartis as the Warlord and get Soul Warden, or I could just HQ my captain on a bike, who I make the Chapter Master. I did think about making him a Death Company captain, but I guess if you do that, you would lose Chapter Master rerolls, which I think is kind of important. So, in this case, maybe we make him the Warlord. So Lamartis loses the Warlord and loses Soul Warden. And that probably makes sense, actually, because Lamartis does have the Death Company keyword, right? So Lamartis is already got a 6-up Feel No Pain because he is part of the Death Company. Is that right? I feel like it's right. I think the Black Rage is separate or part of it. Let me find the Death Company page. It's been a little while. It says that's the detachment abilities, that's the Lost. I should probably know the rules for Death Company off the top of my head. I know they can't fall back if they, and I know that they are getting a 6-up Feel No Pain. It's the Black Rage that gives them that rule, so it's not the Death Company keyword. Oh, I didn't know that. So Lamartis, although he is the Death Company keyword, he doesn't have the Black Rage, so he doesn't get the 6-up Feel No Pain. That shows how little I've played Lamartis this edition. Like, I've literally not played him. Yeah, so Death Company have Black Rage. Taiko the Lost has Black Rage. Lamartis. Oh, Lamartis does Black Rage. Okay, sorry. So he does get the additional attacks. Oh, right. So actually, Lamartis with Mantra of Strength on Assault Doctrine, he can have 8 attacks on a 3 damage weapon. Okay. Yeah, so this is cool then. So, right, like, we're not going to make Lamartis the Warlord, though. I think we're going to bring back my captain on the bike as the Warlord. We're going to give him Soul Warden, wherever that may be. So give him the Warlord trait of Soul Warden, because I think Soul Warden is really needed in the current edition. We're also going to give him an Infernal Pistol because I like that, and we'll give him a Thunder Hammer because I like a 3 damage weapon. So it leaves us 205 points. CP wise, we've spent 1 on Wrath of Baal, 1 on Rites of War, 1 on Armor Indomitus, and 1 on Soul Warden. Doing it this way, though, like when I look at this, the thing that I used to like a lot was Armor Indomitus on that captain on the bike, because he's toughness 5, gives him a lot of survivability. So maybe the best way for me to run this would be to like lose Rites of War and Armor Indomitus on the priest, because I don't think the priest is survivable, and he dies for me whenever I use him. Right, so lose them on the priest. Maybe go back to, I was going to say Lamarta's with Soul Warden. I think is not bad, right? So Lamarta's becomes the Warlord. He is Soul Warden. He's going to be with the Death Company. That makes sense, and I guess that gives them the 5 up against mortals. So the Chapter Master on the bike, I guess, would lose Soul Warden, but maybe he would get Rites of War, and he would get Armor Indomitus, wherever Armor Indomitus may be. I think you have to pick the relic. Armor Indomitus. Find it. So that makes your Chapter Master on the bike 7 wounds. Toughness 5, 7 wounds. So when you compare that to Dante, just that extra point of toughness, those extra wounds, and then he's saving on the same 2 up, right? You could even, if you really wanted, I think, I was going to say, I think I've got 2 warlords here. Yeah, it wouldn't be a warlord trait. So the captain wouldn't be the warlord. He would just be a hero of the chapter. So the captain has Armor Indomitus and Rites of War. The priest, who dies all the time, doesn't have anything. Well, it's fine because he dies all the time. I guess in this list you could actually give the priest the Teeth of Terra if you wanted, but it's fine. The priest dies. He just dies. He's there to just angel sacrifice and die, I guess. So your survival captain now is your Rites of War carrier. Lamarta's is giving the Soul Warden aura, and you've got the Ancient giving you the Jump Pack aura. You've got 205 points left. You don't have any elite slots left, but you do have 2 5 Death Company and the 10 Death Company and Lamarta's. So then it would just be a case of like, what does your list need? So your choices would be fast attack. So we could bring in some land speeders or attack bikes. I mean, attack bikes work well with a priest. Land speeders work reasonably well with a priest. No, with a priest. Land speeders just work reasonably well, I guess. Inceptors, you could have Inceptors. They get a little bit of play here and there. I don't think there's anything else that would stand out unless suppressors, but honestly, suppressors don't do any damage and I haven't had great experiences with them. Transport wise, there'd be no real transport you could take here. The only option you could go is like maybe we could lose 1 squad of Sandguard and we could go an Impulsor and a squad of Death Company, like intercessors in the transport with a Thunder Hammer, and then like you're definitely going to score 15 points on Fury of the Lost because I was going to say, right, hold on a minute. So this is the list. Yeah, I'm going to save this. Hold on. This is my Lamarta's list. Okay, yeah, so this is my Lamarta's list. And I think to finish it off, I think for the moment, like, I think I'm just going to add the Gladiator, Valiant, and the auto launchers. So that is the Gladiator that has, like, T8 and 2 multi-meltas and the Twin Las Talon on top. So it's anti-armor. Now, I suppose you could argue with 2 squads of Guard and an Ancient and 3 squads of Death Company. Lamarta's with a 3 damage weapon. The Bike Captain with a 3 damage weapon. You maybe don't need anti-armor. But sometimes I feel like some anti-armor can be pretty useful to if you're fighting enemies that are wound capped per phase, and that's one of the things I came up against the Chaos Demons. You've got a Bloodthirster that's wound capped for 8 wounds per phase, and he's got 20 wounds. So if you don't knock 8 wounds off him in like a couple, well, maybe not 8, let's say 6. You need to knock 6 wounds off him in 2 turns before you can even kill him in melee. You can't put units into melee with him because you'll just eat them alive. So I think you need some fire support, and this is why I really felt like in an ideal world, I would probably run in an ideal world, I'd probably run a Volkite Contemptor sitting 45 inches away, just popping off. I think a Volkite Contemptor does 10 mortal wounds per game, right? Like it's 16 hits, which equates to 16 shots, which equates to 12 hits every turn. So if you keep it 45 inches away, if you've got 12 hits every turn, law of averages says you roll 2 6s, right? So like it just does 10 mortal wounds and it sits 45 inches away. So that's why Volkite Contemptors can work, right? And you know, you could roll hot, you could use Wisdom of the Ancient to reroll some wounds or hits or something like that. You get Chapter Master rerolls. So I like Volkite Contemptors, and that's why I want to run in this list. The issue that I have with this is because Blood Angels are so stacked in the elite slots. So this is a list I'm probably going to try next, potentially. This is one of the lists. I think I'm gonna the other ideas that I've had, and some of those other ideas might be mad, but one of them would be to obviously lose the Valiant and replace it with. And I think if I'm losing the Valiant, I probably need to lose the Chapter Master, which in some ways makes me question myself because I'm like, right, I don't have Chapter Master rerolls anymore. But what I thought I could bring in is like a Terrax with probably like the Volkites. Maybe keep the heavy flamers on it just to keep it nice and cheap. But I think a Terrax, and then I think Death Company Taiko. Taiko the Lost. I think in this case we wouldn't take Taiko's Warlord trait or anything like that. The interesting thing about Taiko is that he makes Death Company reroll ones to hit within 9 inches. So I'd take this like 10-man Death Company and I'd bundle it into the Termite. Now the Termite I believe holds 10? Maybe it's 12, let me just check. Yeah, so it holds 12, so it can take Taiko plus like let's say like 8 Death Companies. So if I lose the jump packs off that Death Company and maybe for argument's sake, like just make this Death Company nice and simple, like right, like it's just at the moment you can put 12 in it. So Taiko plus 5, 6, 7. Oh shit! No, let's remove these two. So it's like a blender unit, right? So let's make it like 7 or 8. 8 seems fine, right? Eight plus Taiko is 8 plus Taiko is 9 models. So I was thinking like you could potentially like put some veterans in here as well. I guess the issue with that would be like you might have to lose your Sangre Ancient so that you've got the slot open for veterans. I mean, let's assume that we have to lose the Ancient, right? So you've got 8 models plus Taiko. We put in a small squad of Ancients. Sorry, we put in a small squad of company veterans. Wherever they are, company veterans. And the cool thing about veterans is you can keep them at 20 points per model and you can just arm them with double chain swords. Like, you know, no messing around, just wherever it is. We can just put 2 in the box. Yeah, cool. We don't often get models that can go double chain sword. I mean, you could go 1 chain sword, 1 lightning claw. That's good as well. Maybe that's the stronger option, but at the moment, why don't we just talk about like 3? So if you think about Relentless Assault, if in turn 2 you can get the termite down in their deployment zone, you have the termite, you have like, what was that, 8 death company, 3 company veterans, and Taiko. So you get 4 units into there. So for secondaries, I mean, how many points does that cost? It's like 190 plus the death company at 140 plus these guys at 60 plus. So it maybe cost you like the best part of 500 points. But those 4 units, they're scoring Relentless Assault. Anything you kill with Taiko or the Death Company, scoring you Fury of the Lost. So like I said, 2 of your 3 secondaries are kind of like no-brainers. You're just doing them anyway, right? And then what we've got 225 points left, which arguably you could still spend on a Gladiator tank if that's what you've got. A Vindicator Laser Destroyer. I just bought one of them. Maybe that would be the trick to try that out. Flat 6 damage. It's pretty tasty. Yeah, why not? So the 2 new things that I bought, the Vindicator Laser Destroyer, I don't think it needs a Hunter Killer Missile. I mean, it could have a Hunter Killer Missile. I think I would pay the Hunter Killer Missile if I had a Tech Marine in the list. So the Terrax, the Vindicator Laser Destroyer, a bunch of jump units. We still have Soul Warden. We still have, I guess at this point we would be, by removing the Chapter Master, we've lost like our Rights of War. So maybe that's the way to do it. So this time round it would be like the Priest would be the Rights of War Armor Indomitus character. So that's going to cost us what, 3 CP plus. We've also lost the Banner of the Ancient there, so we're kind of even better off on CP, I suppose. The Termite coming in gives you 5 Melta-Gun shots. Remember, Taiko has a Melta-Gun shot as well, so you do have a little bit of Melta surprise fire, however you want to put it. And then we have 50 points left here. Well, 50 points. Recently, I've been running the detachment of Voidsman for 50 points. We could possibly lose like 1 Death Company model, and we could take an Inquisitor for something like some casting or for some psychic interrogation. That could be another option, you know, like you come up against an army that's got no psychers, then psychic interrogation from an Inquisitor suddenly gives like quite a few interesting options, right? So basically you've got 3 secondaries that you can score like 15 points on in this list. So at that point you just need to remotely keep up on primaries. And I think that's the problem that my lists had this weekend at the tournament. I was able to score pretty decently in all my games on primaries, or I was able to contest primaries and do decently, but my secondary scoring was just really, really, really difficult. So I don't like only building lists with Death Company and Sandguard. I know that's what's been winning tournaments, but I just think it's a bit one-dimensional, and I'd rather come up with something on my own. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, coming up with something on my own that could be quite fun. Over the 2 lists, I actually think I'm leaning more towards this one. I mean, I guess I would need to make a bunch of Death Company without jump packs, but I'm sure I've got some Marines kicking around that don't have jump packs on. I definitely have company veterans because I made a bunch a little while ago, and I definitely made some with double chainsword as well. So it'd just be like, what the hell do I spend the last 50 points on? Part of me thought, looking at this makes me think like maybe I just want to take a squad of heavy intercessors. I never run heavy intercessors, but I did buy a squad of them. We don't see them very often, if ever. They're basically exactly the same as regular intercessors. They just have 1 more toughness and 1 more wound, and then their gun, I believe, has 6 more inches, and they have strength 5 on those heavy bolt rifles. So if you take like the Helmstorm one, I believe you just get like, it's 30 inches, it's strength 5, it's no AP, it's 3 shots. So 30 inches is very decent for a Assault 3 gun, I guess. No AP, but I mean, Armor of Contempt sometimes negates if you have AP, so maybe that's the stronger option. I guess you could throw a heavy bolter in there as well. if you wanted to have a 2 damage weapon in there, they are allowed to take a heavy bolter, which I believe is just heavy 4, strength 5, 2 damage. So how much damage can that squad actually do? They could do 16 damage, but I guess no EP. I'm giving myself lots to paint here, haven't I? I always give myself lots to paint, so maybe something like that might be a fun list. So Lamartez is a warlord with Catechism of Fire, giving +1 to wound. I guess early in the game, for ranged attacks, that might be cool on those heavy bolters. You've got the priest with Armor Indomitus and etc. You've got Taiko, the Salt Intercessors, the Heavy Intercessors, the Incursors, the veterans with the 8-man Death Company and Taiko in the Terrax, the Laser Destroyer, so we have a bit of firepower, 2 Sandguard, 2 Death Company, and then you're whirlwind for holding your backfield objective. I'm going to save this list as Taiko 2, or Taiko, I guess this is my Taiko list, and I hope you found both these lists interesting. I guess if you just wanted to be super efficient and score Relentless Assault and score Fury of the Lost and focus like 100% on Death Company and Sandguard, then Zach from the army list I covered a few weeks ago, who won the GT, like a 200 player GT, he did that, and I think his list, I definitely covered it, so I'll try and link it up above and you can go and watch his list. But the thing that has been frustrating me is that I would like to make my own lists. I don't want to copy someone's list online, and I don't want to be shoehorned into I can only run Death Company and Sandguard because they're our best units. So I'm going to play something different, and here's a couple of army lists. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of them. Hopefully they're pretty interesting, and I'll play some of them on stream. I guess this one with the Terrax and Laser Destroyer, I'll probably be playing... I was going to say I don't know when I'm getting the Laser Destroyer. Maybe I have to focus on the other one first. But I think, assuming that nothing changes, I guess, for Blood Angels, then that's maybe a list that I'm going to work towards. But in that list, going to need some painting. Like, I haven't painted my Heavy Intercessors. I haven't painted any Death Company without jump packs. I've never run Death Company without jump packs before. I guess the weakness on that list would be that I have no rerolls for the Death Company and the Terrax, actually, and that's something that I would probably need to fix, and maybe that puts a nail in the coffin behind the Taiko idea, because I think the thing that I noticed was the Terrax is super deadly in melee, and it's Blood Angels, so Icon of the Angel would let you reroll. So this is a list maybe that I'd be working on at the moment, which is basically 3 Death Company, a 5, a 5, and a 10. The Sangre Ancient with the Wrath of Baal, the 2 5-man Sangre Guard now. The Whirlwind, I guess it didn't save when I added my Gladiator, and I just bought that Gladiator recently. I really hope that the Gladiator gets made better or gets a points drop. I think both those things would help it. But I mean, it'd be fun to run the Gladiator. So I'll run the Gladiator with the heavy 8 firepower. I'll run my Captain on my bike, who I really love. I'll run Lamartez, who I've not really tried, but that gives me 4 Death Company. And I'll also run the Priest. So a better option, just looking at that, if we're gonna focus on Relentless Assault, might be Land Speeders, actually. Like 205 points here is basically 3 Land Speeders. I think Land Speeders are 70 points. And you do get 3 fast attack slots, right? So probably I'll run the Gladiator, but I think the stronger choice here would be to go Land Speeder, Land Speeder, Land Speeder in 3 separate units. And then you've got every turn you could just advance one of those Land Speeders a bunch of inches into the opponent's deployment zone and score. You might not even need to advance, right? They move like 16 inches. So I think the stronger play here might be something like that. it would mean that I'd need to find 5 points. I think one of those Death Company models had like could lose a power sword or a power axe or something somewhere across the Death Company. Or the squad of intercessors could go back to assault intercessors. That would save me 5 points. So I think that might be the better play. Lose a bit of firepower, I guess. But not that much, right? You basically lose 2 shots from a strength 9 minus 3 d6 damage. But then you probably make up the shots because the land speeders are able to get in half range easy, which gives them +2 damage. And if you lose one land speeders don't get profiled, so all 3 of these could be on 1 wound, and you're still firing at full power. Whereas the gladiator, so this is why you can't field gladiator tanks, I suppose. This is the stronger idea. I think it really is. So maybe this is what I need to run. So maybe what I need to buy myself is, I've been saying for a while I need another box of Death Company. Maybe I need a box of Death Company and another land speeder. I didn't even finish painting my first land speeder, honestly, but I think that's possibly the list. For Fury of the Lost and Relentless Assault, almost guaranteed. Almost guaranteed. I suppose you could lose your Ancient here and take like an Imperium, same as what I said in another one, where you could take like an Inquisitor or something to start scoring Psychic. The second one, which was the Taiko list, and I think the problem with I like the Taiko idea. I think it's a cool idea. The problem with the Taiko idea is you want Icon of the Angel on a character coming out of the Terrax. But I mean, that wouldn't be impossible, because if we remove that 3-man squad of company veterans and replace them with a company champion can take a relic, and that could be Icon of the Angel, and he's only 55 points, which is still within our limit there. If we lost maybe like, I was going to say, is there something we could lose? Like maybe we could lose our Volkite Chargers, replace them with Heavy Flamers on the Terrax, and then you could pay the 15 points for the company champion upgrade, and the champion upgrade basically means that like he can fight first, he's -1 to hit, he can reroll wounds against enemy characters, and he can obviously carry Icon of the Angel, meaning that you can still have Taiko, I suppose, in that Taiko can reroll his charge, the champion can reroll their charge, the Death Company can reroll their charge, and so too can the Terrax pattern Termite. So you would have 4 charges there, all 8 inches, hopefully, all with rerolls. You should, laws of average say 2 or 3 of them should probably go off. Remember, the Terrax does have 5 melt shots as well, so you could shoot the toughest target in the enemy's deployment zone. Okay, so that is 2 lists. I'll probably run something like this in the near future on the channel. Let me know if you like them. Let me know if you don't. Point out anything that you think I would have missed, or I'm happy for you to point out something that you think would make it stronger. I'm of course more than happy to make any videos that are needed. And if you do want to support the channel, then remember there are links in the video description and also the big join member button underneath. I do really appreciate all the support, so thank you for considering supporting, and thank you for watching. Let me know how you're getting on with the Blood Angels at the moment, and I will catch you in the next one. By the blood are we made strong, brothers. Peace.